From the Ticats Audio Network, this is Task and Twos.
Hey, Ticat fans, welcome to the Task and Twos show. I'm Luke Tasker. I'm joined every week by Andy Fantuz. We are now at the halfway point in the Ticat season. And time flies with only 14 games, Andy. This is crazy. It feels like we just started our Ticats Audio Network team and got this thing up and going, and now we're halfway to the playoffs. I'm up in Alaska still, and you're back in. This is good afternoon for you, good morning for me. But yeah, man, it is wild. I and being up here, missing these 2 games that I'll have missed. It's like, man, we're almost getting ready for playoffs here.
Yeah, the weather's changing. The team's starting to fire, so it's nothing like September football leading into the playoff stretch. So
yeah,
it's going to be a good one this weekend.
Absolutely. Yeah, the weather has already changed up here, by the way. We've had snow like for 5 of the days we've been up here in Alaska for my sister's wedding. It's 20 degrees outside, Fahrenheit. So, -10 or something like that Celsius outside here. And yeah, it's full blown winter almost already. But how's everything going there, man? I love the broadcast in the last game. We're still prepping for Montreal here, but how are things back home?
Yeah, really good. It's I've also been on the road a lot last few weeks with a few weddings in the family, and but now kind of back in town this week and looking forward to the game, and then heading out to Saskatchewan next week for the Plaza of Honor deal.
Hey.
Yeah, and then I'll be back for the Thanksgiving game. So I'll see you, about 10 days or so.
That's fantastic. So what day next week is the Plaza of Honor?
So the gala is on the Thursday night,
Yeah.
7th, I believe, and then there's a few other smaller events during the days following leading up to the game, and then we'll be recognized on game day as well, which is the Saturday, the 9th.
Man, that is awesome. Our Ticats great Andy Fantuz is also a Rough Rider great, and he will be going on the Plaza of Honor in Saskatchewan, I guess similar to the Wall of Honor in Hamilton. And man, that's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see some coverage of that, and certainly to hear about it from you on the next Task and Two show. I mean, you're obviously going to be. I mean, they're going to have you doing stuff and talking or whatever, and going to, like you said, the gala or whatever. But it would be sweet to get some Ticats Audio Network coverage there at the Plaza of Honor. A little speaking, like a little behind the scenes with the enemy's honor. That'd be cool. But man, that's
what we can do.
Yeah, that'd be cool, man. Well, man, congrats again. I don't want to make you go too much into that. Certainly, the week after, we'll hear all about what that kind of experience was and what it was like out there. So very cool. Excited for that, man.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're going to be nice to see some old faces and friends. It's still a lot of my teammates that I played with are in the city in Regina, so I'll get a chance to see some faces I haven't seen in a long time. So really looking forward to it.
Fantastic.
But yeah, we got so looks like we got a few guys getting healthy for this week.
Yes, Speedy B and Mazzoli and Bralon Addison. That is a great name to see to hit the lineup. He obviously hasn't played yet this season. His last game was my last game in 2019. So he's been out of it a long time, and really, really happy to see him healthy again. And I mean, this is going to be very different. Like, so Mazzoli played in the early on in the season, but that was different, man. That offensive line was really, really struggling. There was really just a lack of sort of cohesiveness across all 3 phases at that time. The Ticats have tightened some things up, specifically in defense and special teams. And with the time that Watford's been in, the offensive line has made improvements as well. I mean, this is going to look like an entirely different offense from what we've seen the last 2 weeks, I would expect. What do you think?
Certainly. Yeah, like getting those big names back is going to change the whole dynamic. Absolutely. So we'll see how the playbook gets affected and the play calling with those changes. And who would you compare Bralon Addison to? Because obviously I've seen him play, and but I never was in the locker room with him or in the meeting rooms and practice field. So what kind of player is he in your books? Like I know he's one of the greats in the CFL. Give me a little insight on him.
Yep. He's a really, really great route runner. He's not a burner. I mean, he's got great speed, but he's not like Speedy B with it's not like the speed jumps off the film. He's got good speed, but he's just a really, really good route runner. Like, I don't know, like, he's just the kind of guy, he's going to be able to get open on whatever coverage. He can win his route no matter what. I also think he's got a little bit of that, like, I don't know, like innate, like CFL slot, at like a bit the ability to see the field. So he's a really good guy at wrapping a will linebacker, at feeling that space between the halfback and the under coverage, and just kind of he's kind of savvy and smart in the low zones. But at the same time, like, he's a threat downfield too. Like, he really is. I mean, a healthy Bralon Addison is got to be, I think, top 3 receivers in the league. I mean, he's that kind of player. And if he and Speedy are both healthy, I mean, you and I have been talking for the last 4 weeks that we've wanted to see the passing game open up. Like the true classic Tommy Condell passing game that you and I played in for all those years. And with these 3 guys back in there, I think they're going to mix up the receiving group too. It seems like they'll maybe have a all American receiving crew, and they'll have to make their changes accordingly like that. But I think that they got to be scheming up some aggressive passing offense. And what we've seen with the games the Ticats won was not that. It was really a more controlled offensive approach, taking what you can get, kind of an offensive approach. And I'm hoping that Bralon, Speedy, and the rest of those guys gives Mazzoli sort of a new energy to, make some strikes downfield. I think we might have a very exciting game here.
Well, certainly some high praise from someone like yourself. When you were describing him, sounded a lot like how I would describe you as a player, and so that's
I don't think we were all that dissimilar. He was certainly faster than me, but he has got a very, very smooth break. Like, at the top of his route, if he's gonna shake to a post route, he's got a very smooth little waggle with his shoulders and head, and to really accelerate to that post. And he's just an exciting guy to watch. Very, very happy to see him healthy again.
Yeah, that's great. Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's time for the offense to sort of contribute on their complementary football and take some pressure off the other 2 phases. But not only that, when the Ticats face the powerhouse teams in the league, they're going to need all 3 phases clicking. And so you got to start practicing now. You want to get to what you want to get to by the end of the season.
Yep, absolutely. You're right. And it was like a little spell there of a couple of games where, sometimes, I mean, it's a real blessing in professional sports if you can win a game while you're still figuring yourself out. I mean, because the Ticats have been able to pull off wins while they're not firing on all cylinders, you could say. And when they're dealing with adversity, like, no doubt about it, it's not like it's just bad play out there. They've got some real adversity in the injury, in the injuries, and how they've worked, shaken out the season. But they've been able to win games with not really mistake-free or super perfect execution football. So to be able to do that in professional sports is just amazing. I mean, I can remember years where it was like it felt like it was going to take the perfect game for us to win. It's like any little error here or there, what you weren't going to get away with it. And the Ticats have done it a few times, and now they're looking like they're starting to shape into the team that they were meant to be, on paper prior to the season and prior to injuries and adversities and all that. And, excited to see that. I would make this prediction. If I if I am Tommy Condell, I'm going to try to get the ball into Bralon Addison and Speedy B's hands in the no later than the first 2 drives of the game. You got to get those guys involved. If Bralon Addison's coming off of 22 months, 21 months of no game action, right? So I think you got to get him involved early on. You let him get tackled. It's been a long time. You let him get the feel in it because you're going to need these guys throughout the game to make plays. And I think that for Mazzoli as well, just mentally having those guys he trusts out there and having more options. I think we get this thing going quickly and get the ball in your playmakers' hands right away.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's great advice if coach is listening. I'm, I think we learned it from him anyway, so I'm pretty sure he knows that.
Exactly. I told you, Tommy Condell was always great. If I ever did something in a game, made a crucial error, a fumble or a dropped ball, really in particular, I always felt like the ball came back to me quick, and I think Tommy was that way. I think he recognized that you kind of need a small win, right? A little catch, to get that first down, to sort of shake the monkey off your back after you've done something that was, you made that mistake in the game that was harmful. And maybe it was a coincidence, but it seemed to me like that was Tommy knew that about me and about the psychology of a receiver, that you come back to them quick if they after a little bit of adversity. So we'll see it. I'm sure we will, and I'm couldn't be happier for Jeremiah that he's back in and healthy again, and particularly after he had his last season was ended with an injury, and then he right away gets one this season as well. So good to see him back out there, and he's got a new. The team is new from when it's different from when the early games that he was playing, where there was kind of struggles all around.
Yeah, it's great to see him back. So hopefully getting those guys and getting a couple completions, we get the crowd into it as well. And it's going to be a big test. Montreal, they got a lot of firepower, and they've sort of been playing like kind of hit and miss this year with their game, similar to the Ticats. So both teams are on. It's going to be a dogfight.
Well, it's cool because we're at the halfway point in the season for most teams. And this is a big week in the East. Toronto has Ottawa, Hamilton has Montreal, and it's sort of the lower half versus the upper half of the East. So if Toronto and Hamilton win their games, that divide is getting pretty drastic between Montreal and Ottawa and Toronto and Hamilton. And it's setting up like it has so many years, like it seemed like it did so often in my career, setting up that there is a crossover. There is a potential for a crossover, it looks like. Obviously, too many games to play still, but if the season ended now, it'd be very tight. So that'll be interesting too. And of course, if either Toronto or Hamilton drop this game, then that divide becomes less clear. But Toronto and Hamilton seem to be the ones that are going to be battling for a bye week right now. Again, with a lot of games to play, but really huge week for the East Division here.
Yeah, shaping up to be a good finish down the stretch.
Yeah, man. Well, Andy,
how was the wedding?
I was about to tell you, you'd love this, man. So the wedding was fantastic. It was at Big Lake, Alaska. It's north of Anchorage, south of Denali Park, and so like my sister and my brother-in-law Jake were up there. You could see Mount Denali like in the background at the altar. It was an outdoor wedding, and it was like let me think here. I guess that would be like I don't know, 12 degrees, and we were all outside. I unfortunately missed most of my sister's wedding because I had to taking my kids out of there. They were going crazy. It's too cold, all that. The wedding was beautiful, fun party. We had a great spot at Big Lake, but after that, we drove up to Denali or Talkeetna, Alaska, which is like right south of the Denali Park. And so Denali is huge. It's right there. It's like 200 miles away, but it looks like you're right underneath it. But we take a little propeller plane. This is the coolest outdoor. I mean, of all like the excursions and things that I've done and anywhere, Everglades, or out in the scuba diving, oceans, hikes, other mountains, rivers, Lake Louise. This was something entirely different. We take a propeller plane from Talkeetna and you fly into Denali, and there's like 10 people in the plane, and you got a headset on, and the pilot's explaining things as we go. And our pilot, she took us down, like she's weaving through these like granite rocks in these canyons. And Denali is a thing of its own, man. Like there's a cliff there, the Great Gorge, and it has like a 5,000 foot granite wall. Like this is just a little foothill. Like anywhere else in the world, that would be the feature, right? Like that would be the national park, this granite wall. This is just one of the many little foothills leading up to the 20,000 foot mountain. And the difference, and the crazy thing about Denali is it starts at like sea level. Like Talkeetna, the city is like 300 feet above sea level, and Denali is 20,000 feet. So you really get a sense of the magnitude because it's such a drastic change. You fly all the way around. You land on a glacier in the valley of Denali at like I want to say they said we were at like 7,000 feet when we landed at like the height of the glacier. But we were out walking on a glacier, watching these planes come in and out of there, standing under Denali. It was the most incredible like adventure into nature I've ever done in any capacity. It was mind blowing. It happened to be Jenna's birthday, my wife's birthday, the day we were there too. It was just absolutely fantastic. Really worth the trip, and worth the and much better than the plane ride from Chicago to Alaska with my children on it. The propeller plane was much preferred. So it was great, man.
I'm looking at the map right now, and so I'm putting things in perspective. And it looks pretty incredible. It's spectacular. Yeah, my parents actually went on their honeymoon in Alaska. So.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah, but I have never been, and it's on the bucket list.
Oh man, Talkeetna is where my brother-in-law's from. It's a tiny little town with little shops and stuff, but really it's just the starting point for airplane tours, or there's a zip line tour. We weren't able to do that, but you can do, there's every way you can interact with Denali Park. That's where you can do it. But of course, hunting trips, fishing trips, you can take up in there and stuff. And boy, it is something else, man. The size of that mountain is entirely different from it. I've been to Colorado and the Rockies out there, and it's just entirely different. Calgary, of course, when we went out to Lake Louise and all that, and there's just something different about this mountain. It is mind blowing. I still can't get over it. But that was great. We took an ice plunge into the lake at Big Lake it was actually a pretty late night after the wedding, so that was a good Alaska moment as well. I initiated that, now we're back in Anchorage, getting ready to sort of end the trip and say our goodbyes here. So the next challenge for me is the flight home again with three kids, and I'm mentally preparing myself for that. So.
Yeah, it's a massive park, man. Like, it's just to put it in perspective, people don't know, it looks like it's around the same size as New Brunswick or like Arkansas or Maine. Like,
I think it was. I think Denali Park. I want to make sure I'm getting this right. I think Denali Park is bigger than Sweden. Switzerland, sorry, not Sweden. Bigger than Switzerland as the entire country. Denali Park is that size. I mean, it's really like, it's hard to. It is really an incredible thing. And then around the mountain, it's just millions of acres of like swampy flatland. Like, you got moose out there, and there's trees, but like at times of the year it's too wet to even walk. And some people have cabins out there that they only go to in the winter because they snowmobile to them. In the summer, they're almost inaccessible. I mean, it's an amazing place up here. But yeah, if anyone has ever a chance to go do this airplane flight to Denali, don't miss it, and it's worth every penny.
Sweet. Hey man, well, enjoy your last few days, and looking forward to catching up after. Well, I'll talk to you next week, but we'll see you on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, well, we'll talk next week unless your activities interrupt that. But can't wait to hear about the Plaza of Honor, and we'll see how Hamilton fares against Montreal this week.